Hi there, welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we are going to just go over some random stuff that's really not part of a volume. They're kind of loose pages. They're mostly loose pages because when I put all the pages back from 13 videos that I did of the Street Angel album, that thing is like this thick. I mean, it's huge. So I'm going to have to like reorganize and put maybe 91 with Behind the Mask, or, fix it all up so these pages can go in somewhere. Or maybe I'll just, preface the 97, the dance and such, because I don't actually have that much. I have a lot, but I don't. You'll see. But anyway, so these are just not in an album yet. So this is not a volume. This is just kind of a video still going in the right order, just they're not coming from any volume. And we're going to kind of go back and forth here. I'm going to start actually with, the first page, because I somewhat recently made it. I only have this and also like a sliver, which I don't even know where it is, with basically the same pictures, and it's the same advertisement, but it's like, this wide. It's just like a corner piece for this album. I really have very little write-up on this album. There was a Q&A in, I want to say, Parade, which was a entertainment supplement from, I forget which newspaper. I want to say something in the Bay Area or maybe Los Angeles, something. But it was Mick Fleetwood. The question was, Mick Fleetwood published his memoirs a few years ago. When are we going to hear from Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac's flamboyant singer? And it says in 1990, the answer, in 1990, the singer announced that she'd write the most shocking tell-all autobiography in rock history. The Nicks 47 is busy working on songs for a solo album and writing a TV special, all of which has left little time for her to put her lurid story on paper. Fleetwood Mac, which she left in 93, has released a new album, Time. So, I mean, that little write-up and this is about all I have. And then this kind of goes off to the mark, because this was just a little side piece of Billy Burnett's work in 1993. So again, that goes earlier. Whatever. What these are, though, are really neat photos taken from Silver Springs Emporium. And it shows here the Street Angel. So it's kind of sometime, 94, 95, I'd say, because that's the most recent thing that's on there. I guess the box set, right? When did that come out? Yeah, we already had that. So 94 is the most recent thing. And then I have this, which actually almost looks just like this. You'll see this in a little bit in another video or soon. This would have been great to have. This is a signed box set. This is a signed cassette for Street Angel. I'm not sure that this was signed or not. These were pictures my friends had taken. I never got to go there. My ex-husband did. But I never got to go there. And then here are just, I guess she had a lot of like dolls and antiques. You can see all this glassware, tons of glassware, tons of clothes, which has been confirmed that Stevie at one point or another did own the clothes that were at Silver Springs. The problem is everybody who says that they're worn and owned, they're owned by Stevie Nicks, but they don't necessarily mean that they were worn by Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks would get a lot of gifts from people, including shawls and stuff. And, just like any celebrity, which we kind of understand now, celebrities get sent certain amounts of clothing and stuff like that just because they're celebrities to, expand their brand or what have you. So this could have been a simple case of a lot of that stuff, or just stuff that Stevie had bought and gotten and just never wore. A million things. Could there be something in here that she wore? 100%. But I'm saying that most often is the case that it was owned, meaning it was at her house before it literally went to her mom's house and then the store. And this was confirmed from mouth to my ear by a lady that used to work at Silver Springs. And it's just really hard because right now there's even currently some auctions that are going on, and it constantly says Stevie owned and worn. And, it's not the case. It's just not always the case, unless you can really match it to something that it's really hard to show proof of. And again, I have a lot of photos. I'm not saying I have the most by any means. And most of them are studio pictures. So of course, you're not going to see Stevie in a studio picture and, one of these shirts or half the stuff that's on this rack here. This is going to be candid shots and stuff, which I have a fair amount of. So again, you'd have to really piecemeal and work with it, but it was just kind of cool. And I always like to look at this picture periodically and be like, have I seen that in a picture or something? And, But these were taken, I want to say, in about 95, 96. So again, just kind of interesting, just a little piece of Silver Springs Emporium that's no longer. So there's some more pictures. I think I showed an earlier picture of a portrait that was in there. I think I showed you guys that was the profile shot, and it was photoshopped in the teddy bear and the crystal ball, and what a doozy that one was. But there's some more pictures that will pop up. I just don't know where they are currently. So anyway, this is an article that came out in a magazine called Radio Times, which I'd never heard of before, and I don't think I've ever seen since. This came out June 30th, 1995. It was a UK magazine, but it had a really nice timeline of Fleetwood Mac all the way from early on to presidential. I love that picture of Chris here. I clearly remember buying this magazine at a Tower Records. It and another one that I think I've already shown before, and just being so ecstatic that there was anything, because it wasn't a high time for them. It was kind of nothing was going on really. It was dissolved as far as we were concerned, right? So it would be the following year before Stevie and Lindsay got back together that would then lead to the dance. So yeah, I was just really stoked to find this. On the back of this is, again, a hodgepodge. This was done a while ago. This picture, I'm confident, did come out in like 94, 95, possibly 96. This was in Rolling Stone magazine. This was a portrait thing, and this is an outtake that I've only seen online. And again, when you see these little ones, a couple of them are not proof sheet pictures, but they're just little photographs, basically. And a friend sends me those periodically, little ones. And then this article on Mick, which was really interesting. I remember this when it came out. It came out in 1996. And as Mick Fleetwood is being honored at Cal tomorrow, which was in the Bay Area, UC Berkeley. Mick Fleetwood, a Fleetwood Mac rapper, Ice-T, blues maestro John Lee Hooker, and surf rock innovator Dick Dale. The foursome's bound for the Claremont Hotel to get a Lifetime Achievement Award from the aforementioned committee, which had the audacity and a sense of humor to ask them to play, and the artists agreed. Yeah, I just remember seeing this and being like, oh man, I could have seen Mick Fleetwood there at that place. And I don't know if it was something they sold to, I'm sure it was, but it's just kind of cool. This was a little thing from Pulse magazine, which was Tower Records magazine, in June 1994. And again, it's just talking about Mick Fleetwood, really him with work with early Fleetwood Mac, Chicago 1969, and just kind of working on stuff on his own, working with the zoo and such. This is the infamous National Enquirer things where Stevie talks about her breast implants. This is a whole article and a whole deal. And then some about the books, different books that were coming out. And I think those came out earlier. Those are just kind of grouped up here with this page. These are some, unfortunately, not so flattering pictures of Stevie. I love them. But now I save everything that has Stevie Nicks on it, good or bad. And this is nasty. This is a mean little snippet. But, you keep the good with the bad, and you just remember that, people are jerks and stuff. And even though I don't like having it, just you gotta. But these were a series of pictures of Stevie here before I show you this middle part. It's literally like somebody just called her and she was like, shocked. But then somebody took this photo. And the caption says, new yuck Nicks, with an exclamation mark. She used to be such a sexy singer, but former Fleetwood Mac front gal Stevie Nicks has certainly gone her own way, and it ain't a good one, in the looks department. Now, we're not one to start rumors, but Stevie's looking strikingly similar to Sally Struthers or Howdy Doody with those eyes and chins. Now, Stevie doesn't need me or any one of us watching here to step in and open up a can of whoop ass on somebody. But I'll tell you, if I could, just for my own pure pleasure, I would go handle that. That is some bullshit right there. I can't believe what people just think it's okay to write about with people. And I think that that's what reminds me is that to be a celebrity, that, is amazing, right? But it's got to suck at the same time because people are going to do shit like this. And I'm sure it's a guy. I'm sorry, not guy hating. I've mentioned this before, but it's usually, somebody who's just so central focused on her looks. Just really. Anyway. Oh, that was my soapbox moment. I should announce this. I'm going to get on my soapbox and then I'm going to get off my soapbox. It should be my moment, my little moment within my videos. But they're, she's out and about. She's having a good time. Low makeup, light makeup, which is stunning on her. But these ones are prettier. She looks a little tired here, though. But this one's my favorite. And I believe these are also 1996. I'm sure of it. I'm pretty sure of it. Next that I definitely know is 1996 are these moments. And I was trying to remember where Stevie was. I'll speak to you later. Oh, is this? Yeah, this is at the premiere of Twister. That's what this is. So this is when Stevie and Lindsay had teamed up. Obviously, you know this. Stevie and Lindsay had teamed up to do the song Twisted for the Twister soundtrack. And this is Stevie attending the premiere with Mick. Not Lindsay, but whatever. And I don't know about you guys, and I think I might have mentioned this a little bit when I did the video on my CDs and records and everything like that, but holy shit, when that song came out, just Stevie and Lindsay doing a duet. And I think it was so monumental because obviously, Fleetwood Mac again was dissolved as far as we were all concerned. The girls left, Lindsay left, all that. But all of us were waiting for so many years for the re-release of Buckingham Nicks. So it really seemed at that point that maybe that would be something that would happen again. Like maybe that was the time. Like, they mended fences, and we may not see a Fleetwood Mac again, but we'll definitely see the resurgence of Buckingham Nicks. We all know the dance came instead and just conquered the planet, but it was just kind of a hopeful time that we thought really maybe I did anyway. I don't know about you guys, but I really thought possibly we'd see some more, maybe even, I don't want to say I thought another album, but the fact that they did a song together, it just inclined me to think that possibly they would do more after that. But it was wishful thinking at the time. So are these two pictures, and then there's this one, and here's my sign. That's what tells me. And those outfits, good Jesus, the 90s, loafers, little mini suits, big shoulders, weird colors, purple, periwinkle blues and browns. Yikes. These weird slingback type heels. I'm hating on the 90s, I am. But I love the 80s. Then this is one of my favorite little photos. How freaking cute is that? And it's such a weird little press photo. Isn't that neat? Ramy Photo Agency with I don't know where she was at that night, but she's freaking adorable, and she's really favoring these brown boots. So she's wearing them here, and in my next video or another video coming up around this time, I'm going to be talking about those boots, which is funny because I just really never noticed. Again, what's kind of wrong with my scrapbooks and such is that all the work that you see me put into stuff, and again, I've been doing this since 1997, but obviously not every day. Kind of like any hobby, you got to be in the mood and then you got to start doing it. But I am aghast at how much I have that has not been scrapbooked since pretty much now onward. I mean, I haven't caught up. I mean, all that work that I did, you saw all that work for 94. Rumors, Belladonna, Wild Heart, because there's so much more stuff. And even though I was present in the Times to be picking up the magazines and the newspaper articles and such like that, I'm astounded by how much current stuff is not even scrapbooked. And I really thought before I started this endeavor to make the videos that would really put a fire under my ass to like really get a lot of that done. But no, I really want to make those earlier versions look really nice for you and showing and telling, because I had all these early pictures. But I'm thinking of all the stuff I have now, and I'm like, I really have to get busy. So having these pages is a miracle. Just some cute little excerpts from newspapers. I think this is for the Arizona Heart Institute. Stevie Nicks fans not only opened their hearts for the Arizona Heart Institute Foundation concert Thursday night, they opened their wallets too. More than 230 of the 10,000 concert goers paid $1,000. That's why I was never able to go. Per ticket for the star-studded show at America West Arena, as well as 2 VIP parties. This might be this might be the 96 one. And then 2 really cute this little drawing of Stevie, which I have no idea where that came from. I just bought it as a clipping. And then this little unique clipping. So this video went on a little ways, and I apologize, but we're going to close up with, I think I showed you some pictures in Street Angel that I said, I realize now that these were from the Boston Mix Fest. When I met Stevie, which was August 2nd, oh my God, I don't remember what year, but there was a whole bunch of photos that were on eBay. And that girl that I talk about in Germany, bless her heart, at the time, we were really close at that time, and she won all these pictures for me. I bought them, but I mean, because I was in line and so excited, I couldn't be on eBay, counting it down and stuff like that. So 2 of my favorite pictures, and this one actually just got auctioned off on eBay again with an autograph for a steal of a price. But there was an autograph picture from Street Angel, and then there's this picture, and that's the only other time I've ever seen. I've seen it online and such, but I've never seen a physical copy of it. Sharon in the background. But this was the little piece of paper that was taped to the back. And then we have some live shots from that night. And then closing up, we have this other one. And it's hard for me to say which one I like more. This one is freaking adorable. That is just the sweetest smile right there. A little bright for her outside, you know what I mean? Like everything. She's kind of squinty. I'm like, no, I freaking adore it. And again, the little piece of paper that's taped to the back of this. And then the remaining pictures. So that'll do it. I'm sorry this video went a little bit long. That's probably my yak and my talking about, my little soapbox moments and such, but I hope you enjoyed it. I think I'm going to do something a little special coming up, some different videos, and then continue on with the volumes and such, probably also to give me some time to scrapbook some more and get more stuff in order. So thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time. Bye.